Hey guys, Fire here from InDepth Gaming, bringing you another game review. This time we're checking out Path of Giants. This game is developed and published by Journey Bound Games and released on November 11th, 2021 for a price of $8.99. Now, Path of Giants is a puzzle game, but it's a puzzle game that's a little different than some of the normal puzzle games that we've been seeing hit the console lately. In this puzzle game, you control three, I'm going to call them little Eskimo guys, that you have to find ways to navigate around the map to trigger buttons to continue from one stage to the next in the game and then continue to move on and advance while you're playing. Now, the way this mechanic kind of works is you control each of them independently, but what's cool about the game is each of these special characters do their own little unique things in the game to affect everything. So you have to navigate and move them around and figure out how that they can get from point A to point B to complete the task that you have ahead of you. And it's a very interesting mechanic in a way of how the game works, is you never truly know what you're going to be doing to try to complete the puzzles, and you have to really figure it out on your own. And all while playing the puzzle, there's these little pots as you go through each level stage that you need to collect these markers for to be able to even complete the levels. So you're going to be doing a lot of moving around and micromanaging to get your guys to the buttons that you need to trigger and hit for them to be able to complete out their levels. And that's kind of the gist of how this game works. It's a puzzle game that asks you to solve the patterns to get from one end of a level all the way to the other. And this takes place over multiple little kind of chapters and segments. And the game progresses the difficulty of the puzzles, honestly, at a pretty decent rate. You're not going to really feel overwhelmed or feel that you're having to struggle too much with this game, which is an amazing selling point considering that there's often times where some of these games can be just so utterly challenging that they're just a pain in the butt and you don't even want to play them. So it's nice to have a game like Path of Giants come along and you don't really have to have those standard struggles that you normally would with games like this, as you get to really just spend time casually figuring out what your prompts are to complete your goals in the level. And that's something that I really enjoy about the game. There's something nice to be said about a very simplistic puzzle game that doesn't demand an overly ridiculous amount of effort for you to complete out your tasks that you need to do. One thing that I've enjoyed a lot about while playing this game is that nothing feels too aggressively frustrating, and I can easily just stop what I'm doing and move on to the next puzzle. I don't feel like I'm stuck in a mind numbing, agitative state where there's so many little different nuances that I need to figure out about the game. The game just allows itself to flow very fluidly, and it teaches you things at a pace that is very easy really to just keep up and go along with. You don't feel like you're pressured into a frustrated state while trying to navigate through and complete some of these levels. As far as the controls, it couldn't be any simpler. You navigate around with your analog stick, and then you just use your A button to command things or break little jars or things that you need to trigger the next objective in the game. And you kind of just rinse and repeat this entire mechanic all the way to the end of the game. It's very simple and very fluid, and the hardest work that you're really going to have to spend while playing this game is just trying to figure out what you do to trigger certain objectives in the game as far as like the button sequences. And outside of that, it's nothing that's too overtly insane to try to accomplish and finish. So it's a very nice take on how this game functions and makes it work really well for, honestly, any new gamer to just dive straight into this game and feel really good about playing it. Overall, my experience so far with this game has been absolutely great. I can't really complain a whole heck of a lot with how the mechanics are working in the game, and that's something that's really nice to just be able to say and enjoy, because sometimes puzzle games can be extremely frustrating, and unfortunately that's just the nature of how puzzle games can be. And for me, this feels like a very solid, like beginner entry level esque puzzle game that anybody can really pick up and play and not struggle too much while trying to figure out what to do. And that's just an amazing point to this game, an amazing kudos to the developers for making something like this. Now, to go beyond just the controls and simplicity and nature of how the game's created, it's very beautiful. Like the way they constructed this game and how it plays, just it fits so perfectly that you don't really have to feel struggled or challenged or bothered with understanding the mechanics or getting things just completed in the game. It's nice to have that visual tone, audible background noise to just really engage you into the environment and make you feel like, you know, maybe you could be a little Eskimo looking little guy trying to figure out some puzzles in the Arctic or winter somewhere. And especially with, the winter and everything hitting just around the corner with everybody, this is a great game going into the winter holidays if you want something casual to play. Now, at the end of every sequence of levels to the three, you're presented with a kind of rotating like hieroglyphic style puzzle where you just need to figure out a way to connect all the dots. And there's generally only going to be one pattern for you to do this, so you just have to really connect and play with your pieces until you find the best correlating pattern to complete whatever sequence or connection that you need to for the game to be able to let all three of these little arrows, lights, whatever you want to call them, be able to connect. And it can take a little time sometimes to figure out just the perfect right pattern for you to complete out the game, but it's usually nothing that's going to be too overly difficult, and you're oftentimes going to be able to find the answer pretty darn quick. Overall, though, I think Path of Giants is a great game and definitely worth picking up. I definitely recommend buying this as it's just a ton of fun. If you have any questions or want to know more about the game, as always, let us know down in the comments. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I hope you enjoyed our content, and we'll catch you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day.